Listen, there's a lot to learn when growing and scaling your business.
That's why we created the Business Choreography podcast, where we talk about choreographing your marketing, operations, and sales into dynamic systems that increase your revenue and your impact.
We'll explore solid business principles and discuss all things that make businesses dance to success with clarity.
We'll help you figure out where the holes are in your business and what you can do to fix them. Think of us as your official business choreographers, aka your insider growth strategists.
Remember, your choreography matters. Welcome to the Business Choreography Podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Business Choreography Podcast, backstage and behind the scenes. And I'm excited that you're here today because today we have some cool things planned. This is the show where we talk about the planning and composition of the parts and pieces of business that make up the experience you deliver to your audience, your team, and you. And today on the show, we are lucky to have Rocky Lalvani. Rocky is the profit answer man. He teaches people how to ensure they get paid and make profit a priority. Guys, this stuff is so important. And if you haven't heard of Profit First, you're going to love this episode. We're going to drag him in here and have him share everything he knows about profit. We love it. Let's bring him onto the stage and get this party started. Rocky, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We are stoked to have you here today and so excited to just be able to dig in to your expertise, which is profit. And who doesn't like profit? I mean, come on. We all like profit, except for some people don't act like it. So we're gonna dig into that wholeheartedly throughout the episode, and we're gonna jump in. But we're gonna start with our first segment and surprise you here and dig in. Here we go. Choreo Confessions, the unscripted reality, where we talk about choreography that fell apart or just didn't work, and we want to know why. All right, Choreo Confessions. This is super fun. So here's what we want to know. Like the intro said, we like to talk about choreography that you created in your business and it just fell apart and it didn't work. It didn't work out. And we want to know why. We want to know if you can share a story about some choreography in your business that you created, that you put together, well planned, and then it just didn't go as planned.
So I think a big part of it is sales, right? All of us need sales, and especially in the beginning, figuring out that market fit and then figuring out who your clients really are and who you want to serve and then finding them. So, everyone says, "Oh, you got to go join all the local associations. You got to go network." And I think a big part of it was I went to the chamber and I went to all these other events. And after a while, I kind of learned, wait a minute, my target client doesn't show up here, right? The business owner isn't at the event. It's all the sales reps selling each other.
Right.
And so the messaging just doesn't work. Or
Right.
You're thinking, oh, these would be great referral partners. And yet they don't know how to refer. Or the other problem is, let's face it, we're talking about profit and money. So how do you have a conversation with a business owner and go, hey, do you have no money? And can I refer you to someone who will teach you how to be profitable? But the reality is, right? So many business owners think that profit is an event. It's not a habit. And,
Right.
I'll be profitable when. And so it's hard for them to start a conversation, even to refer you. And so getting that messaging down, finding the right place to be and testing constantly and being open to saying, hey, I was wrong. I got to try something different. I think that's a big part of it. And honestly, that is the one thing I've noticed with businesses, they might get lucky at a given point. They might get a few clients, but how do you create that consistent lead flow of your best potential clients to keep coming? Because
Sure.
that's what it comes down to.
Sure. Have you had some experience or can you share a story of something that you created where it just didn't quite just didn't quite work, like the with the networking or with that element?
Well, I think just the concept of where I was networking, even
Right.
though I was at networking groups where people now say, I won't name the networking group, but there are big networking groups out there.
Sure.
And I realized though that it was the wrong place for me. While it might be perfect for a realtor, it
Right.
might be perfect for somebody who does landscaping. It
Right.
but there's nothing wrong with that. It I was just in the wrong place for me.
Right. Right.
I think that was the bigger story is how do you
Right.
find the right place for you? Because let's face it, we live in a noisy world
Of course.
and you have to break through the noise and people are only going to buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
and I wasn't, yeah, I was just resonating with the wrong message in the wrong place.
So how did you then move from that to find the next thing that was the right fit? How did you find that right fit? I mean, with the world saying the whole
Yeah.
business world saying you need to do that, but then you're looking at it going, well, that's not the right place. So what did you find? What did you do to find the right place?
So what I have found is a couple things. You want to try and be the only person in the room that does what you do in a room full of people that need you. So I've started going to association meetings, like a builders association meeting or the manufacturers association meeting. So you're going to industry conferences, but I'm not in the industry, right? I'm not a home builder, but I'm at the home builders conference because they all need my help.
Right.
And so now you can sit down and have those conversations. But the other half of that is don't talk about what you do. Hey, I'm a fellow business owner just like you. What got you started in business? What are your hopes and dreams? And you just start having a conversation and you don't talk about you at all. You
Right.
talk about them and their needs. And eventually, at some point, a money conversation will slip out or a comment will slip out. And or you just lay a little bit of a hint out there and see what comes back. I think too often everyone runs around with their business card trying to hand it to everyone. I guess these days the young people don't do business cards, but all they're doing is pitching, pitching, pitching. Nobody's listening. So I think learning how to do that well takes time and it takes refinement because what worked yesterday isn't going to work tomorrow and
Oh yeah,
understanding that. So
for sure.
constantly adjusting, growing, learning has been a constant for me. And then the second thing is never start marketing. So even if your sales are full and your pipeline's good, you can never turn off the marketing
Right. Right.
because it will come back to bite you.
It's amazing. I see it all the time. I love
Mhm.
that. All right, let's jump into the next segment. Here we go. Current Events Choreo, exploring today's choreography, where we talk about the best piece of choreography in the news or current events. All right, here we go. Current Events Choreo. We want to know if you've seen something in the news or in current events recently that is just an incredible piece of choreography that you're looking at and you go, wow, that is cool. That thing that they're doing is a really cool piece of business choreography for their business.
That's an interesting conversation. I Most of what I see in the news is bad news. Right? Everyone's talking about inflation. Before it was supply chain. Um, but you're saying who in the news is doing something really well, right? And
Yeah,
putting it
like
all
or
together.
business or that you see in current events that's being talked about.
I'm trying to think who I read about in business who's doing well. I mean, right now, of course, I think the reality is, and let's talk about being lucky or being in the right place to catch a wave.
Right.
Because right now there's an AI wave.
Sure.
I never thought of NVIDIA as an AI wave, but because I just didn't know. But
Right.
they clearly and they caught a couple of waves, right? They caught the uh, cryptocurrency wave because everybody needed their cards to run those computers to do the
Right.
cryptocurrency. Then
Right.
they catch the AI wave. I'm like, everyone's going away from desktop computers to, handheld phones. Why are video cards so it was just understanding that. And I think anytime you look around, everyone's trying to make a wave.
Right.
That's really, really hard.
It is really hard.
It's really hard. But if you can catch a wave, then you're phenomenal. And so, like, another perfect example of that was like when the iPhone came out, which has been, I don't know, that's 15 years or so, maybe
Sure.
longer ago. That created a wave.
Right.
And the smart companies, the ones that caught the wave. Oh, now you need a case for an iPhone. Now you need a cord for an iPhone. Now you need an accessory for an iPhone. And the people who said, hey, here comes the wave and hopped on, or maybe they built apps, whatever it is. So I think the big thing is catching that wave. I'm trying to think who else is creating a wave right now. Well, you see that, and it's that um, China is now going direct to consumer. So
Right.
I think it's Temu, or there's a
Temu.
couple.
Yeah. Temu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a couple different companies, and they literally are. Amazon's changed some of their uh, what they've done is, in order to compete, if you're selling lower price clothing on Amazon, Amazon cut their rates dramatically for listing because they realized they're getting hammered in the marketplace by this new company that's come along. And
Right.
now they're winning on price. They're surely not winning on quality, right?
Right.
I don't even know if they're winning on speed. Do they get there next day? I don't think they do.
I think so. I mean, that's
No.
been one of the hangups. Even my kids figured it out, like don't order from Temu because it's going to take 120 years for it to arrive.
Oh, so in that case, they don't even have 2 out of the 3, right? They
Right.
they only have 1 out of the 3, and yet they're crushing it because they are so
Amazing.
good at the one.
Right.
And
Right.
you've got to figure out, like, you can't compete on everything.
Sure.
Where is the wave? What is your unique opportunity? And then how do you kind of make that blow out and happen?
Right.
What have you seen in the news lately?
Oh my gosh, so many things. And I get to talk about this on a regular basis. One of my favorites, though, one of my absolute favorites is watching Taylor Swift just absolutely nail her marketing. I mean, if it's her, she's a freaking genius. If it's her leveraging a team of geniuses, she's a freaking genius. But she's just absolutely nailing it with releasing her tour, first getting the hype underneath it and getting some wings under it, and then releasing it in the movie theater and going around the movie theater's backs. That was incredible. And then taking that and releasing it on YouTube and adding some new songs and making money off of that, and then taking it one more time to Disney and adding some new songs there and making more money on it there. I mean, she just it's just impressive. So she's either got an incredible team or she's got one massively genius brain on her. Either way, she's pretty dang smart.
I don't know what she's done to create the hype. I don't even understand the hype because it's not just young teenage kid hype, right? She's drawing everybody in, and I
Right.
don't know how she's done it.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And I don't know, I just appreciate the choreography on both sides of it. She puts on a great show. My girls love it. I have 3 girls and a boy, and they love it. But okay, so we had some internet troubles. Anyway, I was just saying that my girls just love it because they're entrepreneurial as well, and so they're watching the choreography and the music, and they're seeing the choreography of her show, but they also are around me enough with all the business stuff to recognize that there's some major choreography going on behind the scenes in her business world and how she's sort of, and I'm going to say manipulating the marketing and how it's all coming out. And I mean manipulating in a good way, because I think a lot of people give a negative connotation to that. But I think it's really impressive, and she's got an incredible team, obviously, that is backing her up and doing some really amazing things.
Yeah, I don't watch, so I have no idea how she's built the hype she has.
Yeah,
Congratulations to her.
no doubt.
I I just wish I knew what the secret sauce was.
I think there's a lot of branding there for sure. I mean, I think there's a lot of branding and a lot of trust from her fans, and she does a lot to make sure she doesn't let them down, and she holds up the values of that brand, and I think that allows people to know what they're going to get prior to getting it, and I think there's a lot to be said for that.
So consistency is a big part of that, right?
Yeah,
You have to be in alignment with what you say you're going to do. And I
I
think
think
a
so.
lot of times there's a lot of misalignment, right? We
Yeah.
say we're going to do X, but we don't deliver X.
Right. Right. I see that, and I think I saw something in the news this morning or yesterday about some of her fans, that college age fans, got on her case because of her carbon emissions from her private jet when she flew from Tokyo to the Super Bowl, and they were saying, well, you're not in line with, you know keeping up with the environment and all the stuff that she typically is in line with, and so she turned around and sold the jet to get a different
Seriously?
one. Yeah.
Well, what's the different one do?
I don't know. I didn't read much further than that, but my assumption would be that it's going to be one that apparently is better for the environment or something like that. But it's interesting. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that she stays in line with. I think that's some incredible choreography, all the way from the stage all the way to the business side, and really impressive. Whether you agree with her or not, it's pretty impressive to see her stay authentic to her brand.
I'll have to Google it.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into the next one. This one's really fun. I like this. Here we go. Choreo Crap, exposing the bad choreo, where we expose the worst pieces of choreography that have been purchased. All right, Choreo Crap. Everybody's been there. All the business owners out there have bought bad business choreography. Maybe they've paid high ticket for it. Maybe they've paid low ticket for it, and it was just crap. You don't have to give away the person you bought it from, but we'd love to hear some of the crap that you've paid for and bought, and you're just like, what in the world was that? Why did I do that? And, maybe it'll serve as a warning, but maybe it'll also serve for us, those of us out there that have been purchasers, and it didn't go so well.
I think that comes down to emotions, right? It's fear of missing out, thinking that they know something you don't.
Right.
And I mean, for me, it's mostly on the learning, and it's usually on the learning side, because I'm always a sucker for learning something new or
Right.
how to do it faster, better, quicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think it's partially that. And the other area that I really struggle with over time, and we finally got it down, but hiring a VA.
Sure.
And they make it sound so simple. You hire a VA and you hand them all this stuff and they're going to do it. And we had a lot of issues, right, with
Right.
quality of work.
Right.
Um, and so that was a big part. Now we fixed that. Like, the latest person I'm dealing with is wonderful. Um, and things are finally getting done.
Right.
And I think it's hard, I think, in every part of business. Every time as a business owner, the cost of doing anything is astronomical comparatively to like a consumer type of thing. So there's always high stakes. And too often, I think what I see with business owners is excitement, which is the same thing I face, of something new. But a lot of times, what I've noticed is if they have cash sitting around, they have this horrible habit of wanting to spend it, just like, oh, I got to invest in my business. And I'm like, okay, but what's the return on the investment? And a
Right.
lot of times there's no return on the investment. I'm extremely conservative with that as far as trying to figure it out before I kind of pull the trigger. Um, but that takes time, which then sometimes it's me wasting my time. I'm like, you know what? I should have either, especially for low ticket. Now I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to buy it. And if it failed, it failed. I'm not going to sit around wasting my time on $100 or $200. Like, try it, fail it, move along.
Right.
Um, and don't. And honestly, I had a big problem with trying to put together it's not a CRM system, but more of a task system. And I looked at all those different task things, and I I was lucky enough, like, because I have a podcast, so somebody offered to help me and walk me through how to do it all. And we sat down at the end of it. I was like, you know what? I think I've learned that I don't need any of this. I just need a simple Excel sheet that I program to do, because my stuff's repetitive, but I just need to know who are my, what are my upcoming clients, like my things. And so I finally just built something myself. I took and that's the problem, right? We have to take the time to do it.
Right. Right.
And once I took the time to do it, then all of a sudden everything flowed. So it was too much analysis paralysis and trying all these different systems that don't work. And I think that the lesson from that, and what I kind of tell people now, is the system needs to work for you. You don't need to work for the system,
Right.
which is,
Right.
I think, the bigger problem, because most systems require you to work for them.
Right.
And you got to make it work for you.
Right. I love that. That is so in line with my past professional ballroom dance days. Whenever I was coaching, didn't matter whether I was coaching brand new beginners or whether I was coaching professionals. If you put the wrong stuff on them, it never worked. No matter how much you wanted it to work, and no matter how proficient or not proficient they were, it still didn't work if it wasn't right for them and if it wasn't right for what they were capable of doing.
And I think that comes down to the right time. Too often we're buying an advanced product for a beginner,
Oh, yeah,
or we're
sure.
buying a beginner product for an advanced.
Right.
And you really have to match it up to say, where am I today? Have I done the work? And am I willing to continue doing the work? Like, I go to conferences, like, how to do this. I'm like, okay, I go sit in the room. I'm like, yeah, I know how to do all of that. The problem is I don't do it. There's nothing new there. I just got to go do it if that's what I really want to do. And then it's a question of, if I'm not going to do it, am I going to pay somebody to do it, or are we just going to scrap this project? And
Right.
it has taken me years to. Again, it comes back to mastering my emotions.
Sure. Sure. No, it's huge. And just coming to grips with the fact that either you have to get somebody that is proficient at it, or you have to become proficient at it, and dealing with the consequences of both. That does take a lot of emotional mastery for sure.
And I just had this conversation with a client this morning, and it was, they're like, "Well, isn't there some way?" I'm like, "No, you have built such a specialized business that you're a trailblazer. You got to build your own systems." And here's the other thing I see people do, because my other client did that. Too damn complicated.
Right.
Like, create the simplest workable product. And
Right.
then and it's the same thing going back to the VA. I found it was easier to automate some of the stuff and put the time into the automation before I went to doing that. So, like, I was gonna pay somebody to look at my email, because it was just overwhelming. And
Right.
then I went and looked at my email, and I figured, okay, let me think about how I can do this and hand it over to someone. And then I realized, wait a minute, why am I paying somebody to read junk? Right. So then I was lucky. I found an automated solution that took care of 90% of the problem,
Wow.
95% of the problem. And that has saved me. like in the beginning, I was having email withdrawal because it works so well, right? I like, what do you mean there's no emails? Now it's like, whatever, I don't worry about, like,
Right.
again, it I it comes down to emotions, right? You have to feel the dance floor, don't you?
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
think that's a big part. As a business owner, we got to feel our business and our choices and how they
Right.
kind of come together. And you got to create the dance that works for you. Stop trying to dance somebody else's moves.
I love that. I love that. All right, let's jump into the next, my favorite. Here we go. Choreo Confidential, the secret sauce, where we talk about insider secrets that make businesses dance to success. This part's so important. This is about your secret sauce, about the stuff that's going on inside your business. I want to know two parts. One, what are you guys doing behind the scenes that's working for you in your business? But also, I want to know about the secret sauce in your business. You talk about profit first, and I want to hear more about it. Some people, believe it or not, still don't know about it. They still haven't read the book. They still haven't learned that this is the way. This is the way of the world. And as a business owner, if they don't know it, this is going to be life changing, I think.
It is. And honestly, in our, like, I'm a certified profit first guy. As part of the certification, they're like, you have to do this in your business. So they force you to do it,
Right.
which is good, right?
Right.
And here's the thing that I have found with profit first. It creates the discipline for the business owner who doesn't have discipline, which is pretty much all of us, right? It forces you to practice what you preach, right? Um, let's face it, most business owners don't want to practice dancing, they want to go dance.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so this is like, how do we automate that so you can go dance and make it work? And that's literally been a game changer. Now that was the first part of the game changer. The second part of the game changer is actually sitting down and doing the math of your business
Right.
and understanding, okay, um, if I want to make this much money and have this much profit, what do I need to do? Like, okay, then I need to sell. I've only got so much time, and you've only got so much capacity. If this is my capacity, if I take my capacity divided by the revenue I need, that tells me essentially my pricing that I've got to figure out. And, somewhere in there, you can do this multiple ways. If you don't have capacity issues, then it's okay. If I can sell at this price, how many do I need to make that revenue? And then in order to sell at this price, that many units, what does my marketing look like? What does my sales look like? What are the conversion rates? Am I tracking all of that so that I know? Because if my leads are down this month, then I'm going to guess that next month my sales are going to be down. Or maybe it's a 3-month sales cycle. So if my leads are down today, then 3 months from now, my sales are going to be down. Most business owners are waiting till 3 months plus 2 months to wait a minute. What happened to all the money in sales? Right? Because they were busy delivering on the last 2 months of sales. And all of a sudden, it's like, what's going on? So they're always they're looking in the rearview mirror instead
Right.
of looking out forward to say, hey, what's happening and what do I need to do today to fix tomorrow's leads? And did something happen inside my system that broke? And how quickly can I find out? I'm shocked at how long it sometimes takes people to figure out something broke or
Right.
something's not working. And it could be something silly, like somehow something happened with Google and nobody's come to your website. Or somehow something changed and your phones aren't working, or nobody, the person who was answering the emails left and nobody bothered to answer emails anymore. Who knows? There's a million things that can go wrong in a system.
Right.
Are you tracking every single part of your system, and does everything have a number? I'm a big fan of Traction. I don't know if you've read Traction, right? Everything needs a number, and you need to make sure all the numbers make appropriate sense, because too often we come up with the wrong numbers. We
Right.
start tracking things that we think are right, and then everybody hits their number and you don't hit your number. It's
Sure.
because you picked the wrong metric, right?
Right.
Somebody's dancing the wrong dance, and it isn't going the way you expected.
Yeah, no doubt. So what kind of things are you guys doing in your business right now that are like in terms of the choreography you're doing, the marketing choreography you're doing? What kind of things are you doing that you feel like are really working and moving the needle?
So I think we've come to the point where we've really gotten far better clarity on who we want to work with.
Nice.
So now we are going back through all our marketing, our website, and everything else to change everything to not who we want today, but who we want tomorrow. And
Right.
so we're changing our focus, our messaging, and our everything to kind of match towards that.
Sure.
It's that shift, but it takes a while to figure it out, see where, and also to take the time to think, where do I really want to be? Who do I really want to work with? What dances do I want to do? And
Sure.
in what order, right? So we're being Taylor Swift here. Like, and who am I going to do it for? And then going back and making the changes to move in that direction. Because that doesn't happen overnight, right? She didn't just show up one day and become Taylor Swift.
Exactly.
So we're kind of, on our small scale, we're doing our Taylor Swift, figuring out how to put it all together to serve our audience. And of course, we have to walk the walk.
Sure. Makes sense. All right. Well, it has been a pleasure to have you. Of course, we will have in the notes exactly how you can find Rocky and how you can get in touch and learn more and get involved and gain some of his wisdom for yourself. So we'll put that link in the description. But before we let you go, Rocky, can you leave us with some sage words of wisdom?
Oh, yeah, this is the perfect words of wisdom. Somewhere where you're listening or watching this, there is a like button. If you enjoy what they're doing here, you got to hit the like button. It's how they get a little love, right? It's a little thank you. And if you've got another business owner friend who you're like, oh, he really needs to listen to this because, every time I talk to him or her, they're bitching about it. Well, go ahead and share it. Like, show a little love, which starts a conversation. And then, that's really what it is. The more you give, the more you'll get. And it may not be direct, right? You plant seeds everywhere and eventually you have a forest, which is what Taylor probably did, little by little.
Little by little. She's been around for ages, right? Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Rocky. Guys, don't forget, business choreography is what makes up your show. You might have a one-man band, a crazy circus, or a finely tuned ceremony, but no matter what, if it's working, there's choreography behind it. And if it's not, there probably isn't. Remember, it's your show. And if you don't choreograph it, it's going to suck. So get to work. All right, guys. Keep on choreographing your business, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
Thanks for joining us today.
Want more business choreography?
Check out our website at bizchoreo.com to find out more.
And find out how the choreography for your marketing, operations, and sales can raise your revenue and create more impact.
Remember, every business needs choreography.